We are going. I didn't write an intro, so I'm going to fucking wing this one, eh?
Love it.
All right. Welcome back to the Punch Drunk Podcast. My name is Chris Ferguson. I'm Australia's most underqualified MMA reporter, and I am joined, as always, by my friends and your friends, except if you're a bantamweight in Australia. Jarrett might not quite be your friend. But anyway, Jarrett Wilbraham and Tristan Lauder. How are we, gentlemen? What's been going on?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all.
Yeah, I'm good. Lots going on, but I'm good.
We're just
That's all that matters.
chatting about the weight cut before, and Jarrett might have some troubles tonight, so forgive his misgivings if he's a little bit slow on the uptake tonight.
A bit cooked, yeah. Heads up, I'm a little bit fried.
All right, so if you are listening to us on YouTube, thumbs up and subscribe. That's super helpful in getting us into other people's feeds, because that's how the fucking algorithm overlords work. On Spotify, follow us. If you're on, I think we're on iTunes. If you're on iTunes, rate and review. That does fucking wonders as well. On Instagram, you can catch me at Punch Drunk MMA or at CFerg MMA on Twitter. Jarrett on Instagram is JBullChillerman, and Tristan is Elkmeat MMA on Instagram. Give us all a follow. And if you've got any questions for future episodes, hit up punchdrunkmmapod@gmail.com. Send us all your questions. My laptop's about to die. I'll fix that in a second. Send us all your questions, any ideas or segments for the podcast. We always enjoy that. Lads, we'll just get into it, you reckon, yeah?
Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I'm going to kick this one off, and I'll pass it over to one of you guys while I try and find a charger for my laptop. So, bantamweight Ketlen Vieira defeats Holm via split decision in your main event last weekend after 5 rounds on the judges' scorecards. Definitely not the most exciting fight of the night, but the most controversial by far. Man, that decision caused... I've never seen Twitter that up in arms about anything in my life. It was absolutely mental. Tristan, we'll start with you. What were your opinions on this? What did you reckon of the fight there?
Yeah, man. Let's get into it. Look, man. I think it's a classic case of robbery or no robbery. I think we could make this a game show, weekly game show, because it seems like there's a robbery case every weekend now. So, look, man. I think it depends on kind of what judging criteria you score it with. Hey, I mean, look, if you're just looking purely damage trumps all, then I think, like, yeah, I could see Vieira, that's her name, right? That's her name, maybe. Vieira, whatever her name is. She was kind of landing the more solid shots, man. She was landing the biggest shots. I think Holly didn't really have a lot of high-impact shots on her. But obviously, man, like, when you're watching the fight too, like, personally, you know, Holly did have that kind of a lot of control time. And it just comes down to the question, like, whether you count, you know, control time or damage. But I think, like, with the more recent scoring system they're using in the UFC, kind of damage trumps all, right? So look, man, going based off that, I think probably, you know, Vieira kind of edges it out. But it's a hard thing to watch and then score it like that, because if you're thinking, you know, somebody getting held across the against the cage for 4 minutes 30, and then maybe they break and they have a couple of big exchanges and they get the other person, you know, gets a few big shots in. You know, does it really? Do they run around? Like, it's kind of hard, isn't it? So, yeah, man, I don't know.
It's definitely a fucking tough one. I missed the start of that. Sorry, Tristan. Did you have it for Holly, or did you have it for Ketlen on the night?
On the night, I definitely had it for Holly.
Yeah.
Just watching it just because of the control and stuff like that. You know, but I think, like, it's kind of hard to play, like, to disregard that control, like bias in your mind, you know? Like, when you watch a fight, if someone's controlling the ring, controlling the other person, even if they're not landing damage, it still feels like they're winning the fight, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I had it much the same. I thought the control won her every round, except for, I think I had round 2, where there was a sub attempt by Ketlen at the end, and that was super close. That actually might have been the most significant point of that whole fight. But on rewatch, I can see 3 and 4 were much closer than I thought they originally were. Jarrett, who did you have winning this?
Yeah, my inbox was just blowing up. like right after the fight, and I was in the car, so I wasn't watching it at that point, but I'm like, what's going on here? And then I quickly, when I had time, I started like fast forwarding through the fight, expecting to see some highlight reel knockout the way everyone was messaging me about it. And I didn't want to see what they were saying because I'd ruin the surprise. But then it just got to the end and Holly lost. So I would have to go with the fact that Holly won. Just the amount of people that messaged me blew me away. Yeah,
man, it was absolutely mental. I'll read through some stats here real quick, and then we can chat all about the damage versus control and all the rest of it. So Holly Holm landed 188 of 263 total strikes. Vieira was 122 of 190. 96 of those were significant for Holly, 85 for Vieira. Holly had 10 minutes of control. Vieira had 1 minute and 24. She managed to snag that in there. And then interestingly, Ketlin outlanded Holly in the clinch by like, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, by 20 strikes or something. So it's 32 clinch strikes for Vieira and 20 for Holm, which I watching that live, I wouldn't have picked that at all. I think I must have missed a lot of those shots.
Like, it must be in hips and knees then, I guess. Because Holly was doing, like, those the quick ones to
That's
the
it.
face.
Yeah.
to the head. Don't you think it's strange that, like, we do go off those statistics, like we read those statistics out at the end of a fight, but it comes down to winning the rounds at the end of the day. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter if you land 300 punches in the first round and then you lose the next two, you still lose the fight.
It's interesting because the way I think one does it, one judges it over the whole 15 or 25 minutes, which I actually, I'm not sure whether I enjoy it more, but it's nice to see something else being tried by a different promotion out there to just distinguish themselves a little bit. Anyway, off track. I do believe it was the wrong decision in the end. I'm gonna read out some of the scoring criteria as it's written in the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So, effective striking and grappling shall be considered the first priority of round assessments. Essentially meaning striking and effective submission work trumps everything else. Nothing else comes into the conversation unless those two things are completely equal. There's I'm not going to read it all. There's a lot there, but it also comes down to a point where it says fighters are assessed more on the impactful, effective result of their actions more so than the position. And when it's written like that, I can understand how judges might have seen it for Ketlin Vieira. I still think it was the wrong decision in the end, though.
Look, in terms of those kind of judging criteria, I'm actually a fan of having stuff like damage trumps all, whenever everything else, because I think it kind of makes the sport a lot more interesting, as people are, you're going to get more people being more proactive, trying to hurt the other person, which obviously makes more entertaining fights. So yeah, I think in that respect, I'm down with that judging criteria.
See, I actually think the problems with the judging criteria itself, and because it's a bit of a relic from, it was, to begin with, it's a 10-point must system from the boxing fucking,
right.
You know what I mean? It was adopted from that and molded to fit MMA, and I think we're at a point now that, we've probably been at a point for a while, but I don't think it's, I'm not sure, I've lost the word. I don't think it's the right way to go about scoring MMA fights, because regardless of how much you change the rules, it's still a system that's been adopted from something else.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. And boxing is completely different when you think about like how many rounds there are, like the length of the rounds as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think until we see some significant changes to the criteria itself, we're just going to keep. What's this? This is like almost every week now. It feels like there's some massive controversy with the judges robbing someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. What do you boys think about verdict? Global scorecards and stuff like that.
You go first, Jarrett.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested in the global scoring card. You mean when it comes down to the total at the end when they add up the 3 rounds? again, that's kind of scored in the entirety of the fight. So it's not something I disagree with. It's just going to be a lot of controversy when there's bad calls. People want to see it broken down and put into statistics, especially when people's careers and money's on the line. But have you seen how the PFL works? They got like, you can see the speed of their punches and stuff like that. I wonder if, as time goes on, though, if they can actually record how fast a punch is landing. Therefore, they know exactly how much damage is being done during the fight, like a PlayStation game when the health bar starts going down. Hey, boys, this is the future.
The future, man. Yeah.
I'd question the validity of that smart cage. I don't.
Smart cage.
That's what they call it, man.
Yeah, some of those punches, I'm like, no.
I don't know. I enjoy the PFL, but I think that's a bit of a ruse, the old smart cage fucking gimmick that they've got going on. But I like Verdict. I think it's an awesome platform, and man, obviously lots of people love it. There's heaps and heaps of people on it. My problem with it is where most people, almost all MMA fans, when they're watching a fight, they're not scored. They're watching it. They're enjoying it. You know what I mean? They're not watching it to score it. So, and I've been a victim of it plenty of times. It's watching a fight live and thinking someone's won 4 rounds to 1, and it goes the opposite way, and you go back and you rewatch it. And plenty of times I've come up with a different scorecard on a rewatch when I'm sitting there trying to figure out what's working and what's not. So I think it skews a lot of opinions in that way, which doesn't help things when it comes to online controversy and everyone blowing up at each other about one thing or another, because you're not really getting a educated opinion from everyone at the time. You know what I mean?
Dude, 100%. And that's like assuming everybody knows what they're fucking talking about.
And that's right.
And probably the majority of people are retarded, just fucking going, hey, my favorite fighter's fucking Max Holloway.
Whoever I've got a bet on. Whoever
Yeah.
I've got a bet on is winning this fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think if you take your eyes off the fight for even a minute,
True.
you can't now be a fair judge of that round at all.
100%. Moving on to what's next, we'll start with Holly Holm, 40 years old, on the last fight of her contract. That was her second last on the weekend. She's mentioned wanting to fight for a title again before retiring, and she's also mentioned wanting to box Katie Taylor, which I think's pretty fucking cool. I'd enjoy watching that. I'm not sure if she gets another run at the title.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know if she's
I don't think so.
highly competitive at the top there anymore. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like there was no marketing for her having a fight coming up like after a year and a half layup. I'm obviously like super into the MMA community and stuff like that, so I'm quite knowledgeable and like I keep up to date and stuff. But I didn't see anybody post about it. I didn't see anybody advertise it. I didn't even know she was fighting until like a couple of days beforehand. I was going, what the hell? Where's the...
I think she was away for it's been 2 years or something.
a year and a half at least, I'm pretty sure.
And the last fight was the Irene Aldana fight, which was, man, she schooled Irene in that fight. That was just, that was a really, really good fight. So I don't know why there hasn't been any real push from the UFC to getting that out there.
Do you think it's to do with how far the sport's come in like the last even like 5 years or 3 years? Like since she knocked out Ronda, if we now look at like who came through, like Amanda Nunes and Cyborg and we got Valentina, like the level of MMA is just so through the roof that a lot of people just are like, oh, forget about the old era.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do.
And she kind of got swept under the rug, like with the, older fighters that were around back then.
Man, MMA fans are an absolute fickle bunch because on one hand, you've got everyone yelling and screaming about, fighters not getting looked after at the end of the careers and all the rest of that shit. And then you've got someone like Holly Holm who is at the end of her career at 40 years old. And I mean,
no one shows love.
There's no love for it, man. So I don't know. You can't be screaming foul with one hand and, it's just, I think it's a little bit silly. Misha Tate and Lauren Murphy coming up. If Misha Tate wins that'd be a cool fight to run back between her and Holly Holm. I think as far as that could co-main a pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight to watch for
I
sure.
think that could co-main a pay-per-view, so I think that might be good for them. And then Vieira, I don't know whether she sits out. I'm not sure who else there is. Aldana, maybe Aldana if she doesn't want to sit out, but I think at this point she could probably sit out and wait for the winner of Nunes and Pena. All right. Topic number 2 for the evening. We'll move on to the welterweight bout between Michelle Pereira and Santiago Ponzinibbio. Michelle defeats Santiago via split decision after 3 rounds. I liked it. This was a fucking awesome fight. This was a super exciting fight. Pereira really impressed me with how reserved and calculated he was compared to some of his prior performances. To be fair, they were both loading up a fair bit. But in saying that, compared to doing backflips and fucking spinning around the ring, I think that's a far cry from where he was. And his gas tank seems to be a lot less of an issue than it used to be. So, yeah, I don't know. That third round was absolutely fantastic. Jarrett, did you get a chance to catch up on this one?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Pereira. Like, he's come such a long way where before he just rely on his athleticism. Now it seems that he's actually wound it back. He knows that he has to win via a different way rather than just trying to go in there and do some crazy shit and knock some people out. He's got to be calculated once he starts getting up to the top of that division. And I think he's looking good, and I think he's going to cruise right up there, to be honest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Tristan, what did you reckon about this one, mate?
Yeah, man, nice addition to the top 15, I think.
I think so.
Pereira, yeah, makes it a bit spicy, you know, a little bit of something in the mix. Yeah, completely agree with what you guys are saying. It's good to see him come reserved, but I do kind of miss his wild days when he was doing fucking backflips and on Diego Sanchez's nuts and shit, or what the fuck that happened in that fight.
It's like the Johnny Walker thing. Like I think that's been handled the wrong way because they've pulled him back so that he's so reserved now that there's none of that flair or anything that he used to have. Whereas I think Pereira still has a bit of that, but it's definitely a lot more contained and yeah, a little bit more calculated than he used to be. How old would you think? Do you boys know how old he is?
He's 28, right?
He's 28, man.
It's pretty young, like.
Bro, he looks like he's 35, eh?
He looks like, yeah, definitely pretty old.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
Man, and he's massive for the welterweight division as well. I think him and Hamzat are a similar frame,
Yeah,
so they're pretty
size,
fucking big for that
That's
division. How far do we think he goes?
I could see them up at top, man.
I see top 5.
That far?
I wouldn't have said that from the previous fights, but from that last fight, if you go and look at some of the things he's doing, he's using like such incredible strategy of cutting off the cage, shifting his feet like Mike Tyson's shift, where he doesn't even move his feet, but he shifts his stance, and then he gives you one way out, and when you take it, he goes and hits you with some crazy shit. Like he's actually. He looks like he's bringing like levels to the game. It's really good to see. Not many fighters are doing it. He's one of the few.
Yeah, man. To look at him when he fights, he's definitely different than a lot of the other younger fighters that are coming through. He's very confident in everything he does.
It'd be a cool fucking fight to see him fight Wonderboy. Eh? I mean, probably a bit early for that. But that'd be a cool kind of fight, wouldn't it?
That would be a very fun fight. Some
crazy strikers doing their unique styles and throwing
man.
kicks and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention that, that's a fantastic fight. I hope that comes together at some point. That's really good.
Go on, Uncle.
Could it have been scored for Ponzinibbio?
Look, man, I think it's close. I think the last 2 rounds are definitely close. So, look, I could see it probably going either way if you give those 2 close rounds to Pons. To the Pons, then yeah, I could see it going to him, man. But yeah,
yeah, you could.
I had it for Michelle Pereira live. I rewatched it again today, and I still had it for him. But that second round is a swing round, eh? Because I had Ponzinibbio winning the third, and then that second round, man, just towards the end of that round, I'm like, whoa, did he snag it or not? But I think they made the right decision. I'm pretty sure he won that fight. What did you make of the call out, anyone? Jarrett, we'll start with you.
What do you call out Masvidal?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently his wife slid into... Oh, sorry. Masvidal slid into his wife's DMs, but it come out... It was the other way around. It just made him look like an absolute fucking idiot, eh?
Dude, how spewing must he be? Like, I wonder if his wife just told him like that. Oh yeah, Masvidal just emoji'd me or some
Could
shit.
you imagine the conversation they had back at home?
Oh, poor
I
guy.
think Masvidal's already won by TKO.
10-7, eh? 10-7 round.
10-7, 10-7. Yeah, for sure.
Man. Absolute joke.
Uh,
I don't think we need to read the stats for that one. I'll give you the strikes. Michelle Pereira had 110 of 216 and 106 of 221 for Ponzinibbio, so they were pretty even in that regard. All right, number 3 for the day. This was probably my favourite fight of the night, I think, or the favourite finish anyway. Middleweights, Chidi and Njokuani and Dusko Todorovic scrapped on, and Chidi come over.
How are you pronouncing it, bro? Nice. I was going to struggle. If I looked it up, I'd be like, how the fuck do you say that?
Man,
Nailed it.
I'll digress for a bit here. I actually find Russian names, they sound like they're spelt. Whereas when you get a lot of like English names aren't spelt like they sound for the most part. It's fucking whack.
Right.
Anyway, Chidi and Njokuani knocked out Dusko Todorovic at 4:48 into round 1 with a vicious elbow over the top from the clinch. It was an absolute sight to see. Tristan, did you get a chance? Did you watch this one on the day?
Yeah, I actually watched it live, man.
Yes.
I actually I'm kind of not a fan. I don't know if I'm a fan of Todorovic, but like I've seen his fights before, and I've definitely been impressed by him in the past. And like starting off the fight, he had a pretty good run with his grappling and stuff. He's mixing it up well. And then all of a sudden he's just lying on the floor. I was like, holy fuck, what the hell? Like it's a short, sharp elbow, but man, just the power that guy generates is pretty insane.
Yeah, abs.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, old Chidi Bang Bang.
He's good, man. So I'll go on to him a little bit in a second, but I think Dusko, I mean, he's definitely going to be underrated now after this fight and getting dropped like that, but I genuinely think he's a bit of a dark horse of the unranked middleweights. He, absolute pedigree in wrestling, as we saw at the start of that fight, like he is very good at that, but most of the time you'll see him just sort of disregard that because he loves fucking banging on with people, man. The fight between him and Gregory Rodriguez was fucking... Woo,
Yeah, that was a fucking good one.
that was a good fight. But yeah, the Chidi had the Das attempt early as well. Nearly locked that up, man. His defense is pretty good. I'm pretty high on Chidi and Njokuani. I'm pretty high on him.
Yeah, all I can say was that elbow was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Put him to...
Just pulled back, bang.
And yeah, that's it. The way that he just created the distance, and then boom, there it was. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
He has wins outside of the UFC going back a couple years over Alan Jouban, Max Griffin, Melvin Gillard, and Andre Fiallo, who's been an absolute menace in the last fucking 5 months in the UFC. There's some very good wins on the schedule. The strength of schedule, man, he was fighting in Bellator from 2015 to 2019. Similar height and reach to Adesanya. I think there's a lot of interesting fights for him at 185 in the UFC.
Yeah, I actually looked it up before, and I'm kind of surprised. Like his first professional fight was back in 2007, I think. Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's been doing
Right? He's been fighting for a long time, man. That's 15 years. He's got experience-wise. Like, wow.
Yeah, his brother was in the UFC. I haven't seen any of his fights actually, but yeah, Anthony Njokuani was I'm not sure when, but a little while ago now.
How many fights has he had?
Chidi? I can tell you that. Hang on. Is it like 16 or 17?
Well, his record 22 and 7 losses.
My apologies. 22 and 7.
It's a pretty good record.
And that's the thing, man. Like, it's not just a good record. He's not beaten scrubs, 12 and 1, 15 and... Okay, that dude's a bit of a scrub, but... 8 and 2, 8 and 0, 18 and 4, 11 and 3, 10 and 1. So he's had very, very decent competition opposite him. So I'm super excited to see how far he goes. Do you reckon, I mean, at 33 years old, he's not a spring chicken though. Do you think he gets the push from the UFC? Do you think he seems like a pretty exciting fighter?
Man, I think if he keeps performing like he did on the weekend, like he'll get a push, man. You know, if he keeps knocking people out in the first round and TKOing people or whatever, then yeah, they reward that shit.
Look how long it took Izzy to get to the title. Like, if you're willing to fight and fight the right people and take any fight they give you and even don't whinge about money,
Yeah.
you're going to get up there pretty quick.
Yeah. How's his voice, on a side note? Have either of you heard him speak?
No, I don't know. Now you mention it, I feel like I don't need to hear it.
It sounds like he's got it's the deepest, like, James L. Jones voice, like gravel in his throat. He could be a fucking, like, jazz blues singer, man. I love it. Super deep, eh?
The old Barry White
yeah,
voice.
100%, man.
Ain't good enough for your love, baby.
I wouldn't mind seeing him against old RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. I think that'd be a super fun fight. They're both just fucking wild bangers.
Oh yeah.
What else do we have from that card? We'll run through these pretty quick. Chase Hooper TKOs Felipe Colares in round 3 with some ground and pound. Did you watch that fight live, Tristan?
I missed that one, man. I missed that one, but everyone was hyped for that.
Oh, dude, I missed it as well, and I actually only went back and watched it today. Holy fuck! All they did was scramble for 15 minutes, eh?
Really?
The whole fight was just a scramble. Chase still had a bit of cardio left at the end, but fucking, I think that's why Corrales just got done. He was just gassed, and the ground and pound from Chase. He had some nice elbows, but it's lacking a little bit, and I think he chases submissions too much rather than just sitting there and throwing some proper ground and pound in. I think that'd do him a lot of favors rather than just trying to chase submissions the entire time, because he's obviously he's a lot better than Felipe Colares was on the ground. I think just should have used that to sit there a bit more and land some damage.
It's like some people just aren't like born with that mongrel in them, though. I think he's one of those guys. He's like, oh, I don't really want to hurt the guy. I just want to go in there and sub him, you know? Because he's like, even with his punches, he's real just like, he could be absolutely throwing some serious leather, but he's very reserved in everything that he does.
It's like he doesn't want to hurt him.
Yeah, it is like that, isn't it? A little bit. That's what makes you good at, like, submissions, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people like to go towards ground and pound, and then other people will steer towards submissions.
The thing is, I think with that style is if you're scrambling around on the ground for 3 rounds and that goes to the scorecards and doesn't end before the final horn, it's a massive risk you take and go into the judges' scorecards with a style like that.
Yeah, especially if they're saying that you're not landing much damage, yeah.
After that, we had Uros Medic knocking out Omar Morales in round 2 with punches. He dropped him 2 or 3 times before I think it was Mark Smith stepped in. I tell you what, Omar Morales has a fucking chin made of cement. Holy shit, did you see this? Anybody did? Oh.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, I missed that.
I actually went back to try and look for his highlight reel. I couldn't even find it.
That was a super, super vicious KO. That fight was it was pretty competitive before that. I like Uros Medic. I'm pretty high on him as well. I think he'll go pretty far. Omar Morales, I was super high on. I still am, but he's just obviously leaves himself with too many openings. Yeah, I don't know. Well worth keeping an eye on Uros Medic going forward, though. Jalton Almeida subs Parker Porter in round 1 with a rear naked choke. It wasn't even in. It just pretty much crushed his jaw until he tapped. Almeida was moving up from light heavyweight to heavyweight there. I don't know. I reckon he can. I reckon he can hang at heavyweight, bro. Eh?
He's huge, man. He's like what? Is he like 6'4" or something?
6'3" with like an 6'3" and 80-inch reach, maybe something like that.
And like the most jacked dude you've ever seen in your life.
What's he striking like?
Decent, man. It's. I mean, he's a submission artist. I think he's got 7 wins now, 7 or 8 wins now by rear naked choke. But he's no slouch on the feet, though. I don't think.
Yeah, sounds dangerous, man.
He's just jacked. He's fucking jacked.
He's just
And
scary,
I think
serious
he
Brazilian
come
dude.
in at like 223.
Did he?
Yeah. Like, obviously didn't have to fucking cut anything, man. If he put on size, I reckon he'd be, with his fucking grappling skill set, he'd be a real problem at heavyweight.
What's his wrestling like?
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very position over submission. And just fucking calculated, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last finish of the night was Joseph Holm submitting Alan Amadovsky in round 1 after dropping him with a knee. Jumped on the back and got the rear naked choke. That was pretty cool. Joseph Holm's coming off Dana White's Contender Series last year or the year before. Maybe he's another one to keep an eye on. He's super fun. Did you just go through the Richie and Polyana Viana fight?
Yeah. Just kind of lying on each other on the ground.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but there's she was kicking the knees and stuff. Probably that when she was on her back,
yes,
like as Richie's going in, she was like kicking the knees.
Yeah, that was actually
which
that.
is cool.
I was a little bit worried for Richie, who was on her feet at that point. That could have blown her knee out pretty fucking quick, eh?
Dude, yeah, the way it was hyperextending it, like which is it's kind of interesting these days. People, like fighters going for that. Like traditionally, I guess people would be going for the up kick, so they'd be going with their hips in to try and protect the up kick, right? And now people are just getting wise to that and just kicking their knees out. So it's like, what the fuck do you do, Jarrett?
Yeah. I'd rather get kicked in the head than in the knee.
Less recovery time, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Punch Drunk MMA, baby.
All right, we'll move on to the filler segment that we've got this week, seeing as there's no UFC or I don't think there's any Bellator. There's LFA and Cage Warriors this weekend, and I didn't really want to do a deep dive on those. So we're going to go and talk about our dream matchups. I've got some UFC ones. I actually didn't go outside of the UFC because I wasn't even fucking thinking. Do one of you?
Yeah, neither.
Oh, okay. So we're all in the UFC. Who wants to start us off?
All right, let me start with a real basic one that everybody obviously wants, okay? Yeah, everybody, it's pretty standard. Everybody fucking wants this one. Dude, Francis Ngannou versus 3 Henry Cejudos.
I thought you were going a different way with it then, but yeah, no, all right, we'll start with that one. I like that.
What, like, logistically, what do you reckon?
Bro, I genuinely reckon 2 Henry Cejudos can beat John Jones. Francis Ngannou, sorry.
Yeah, 2?
I reckon 2 well-coordinated Henry Cejudos. Like, there'd have to be some game planning and shit first.
Well, pretty quick, you know, because like I guess you could just distract Ngannou and like he'd be looking at one, and then the other one sneaks around the back, jumps on the back or something, and just thinks it in.
Each of them, one of them just grab one leg and run separate ways. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, like Henry's got a good sidekick, man, and Ngannou's got bad knees, so you don't just have to get around him and sidekick his knee.
You just run head first into his knee. You wouldn't even need a sidekick, man. I had so the way that I thought you were going to go with that first one, Tristan. I've got Francis and John Jones as the staple that surely everybody wants. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Hopefully, we can actually get this one. Probably the biggest fight that the UFC can make at this point between just 2 absolute fucking monsters of human beings. I don't know if Jones is still fast enough at that size to employ his usual tactics, though. That's what I'm super interested in seeing.
Dude, speaking about Ngannou having bad knees, though, like Jones is famous for his fucking oblique kick or push.
That's a good
kick
point.
to the knees or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I wonder how he'd go with that.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Jarrett, any input?
Yeah, my dream fight that I want to see is like one that's already happened, and it's like Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan, but for a title fight. Like if they both work their way up and then end up at the top of the lightweight division, I just think that's the craziest fight because their first fight was like one of the best things I've ever seen.
It was so good to see. I mean, probably not good for them, but for us to see them fight, like earlier in their careers. I think that's we got treated to a little something special something there.
Did the in that fight the sweep that Makhachev kept hitting? where he was like, dude, I always take that to training and try it. I can never get it. Never.
Bro.
You bait him for the knee and then sweep out the leg. Hey,
Yeah, the timing is just so like perfect on
You're
it.
from
Yeah.
Brisbane, brother, not Dagestan, though. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nah, that's it, man. Should have wrestled bears the whole life. Fuck.
I also had on here. Now, this is one that should have happened, and we're past. I mean, at this point, we're past it now. I think everyone knows how it would have ended. But at the time, Tony versus Khabib 2018 for the lightweight strap when they should have fought. That's my ultimate. I wish I could go back in time and just fucking fix what I can't. What one was that? Was that when Tony tripped over, or was that the tiramisu incident?
Yeah.
It was either one of those, man. But that was the perfect time. 2018, I think. Tony had just come off the win against Kevin Lee, and Khabib was just before he fought for the lightweight strap against fucking Ally Akinta. Man, perfect. That's my dream matchup. That's my absolute dream matchup. At that time, there was just so much mystery surrounding it.
Yeah, it would have been good to get that closure with it too, you know?
It just, I feel
just-
robbed now, bro. I feel so cheated.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, we're
I
going to
wonder
get
how
a
Tony feels.
Yeah, well, true.
Oh, but yeah, we know how Tony
Poor
feels.
bastard, bro.
He only brings it up every fucking...
He's been through the ringer. Imagine going 12 fights straight on a winning streak and not getting a shot at the fuck. I mean, he got the interim title, but I don't know.
He got stripped off him.
Yeah, like the poor bastard, bro.
So, yeah.
He's been through the
Poor
fucking
bastard,
ringer.
yeah.
I also had Charles and Khabib. I think that'd be a fun one that everyone wants to see at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's him and Makhachev as well.
Yeah, true.
Definitely super keen.
Who do you, Jarrett? Do you reckon Khabib in that fight?
Who is that against?
Charles
Sorry.
Oliveira.
Yeah, Khabib for sure. As I said before, look at what Chandler did to Oliveira when he got in his guard. He just started beating on him, and it was like quite easily. Every time a submission got thrown up, he just pulled up and
Yeah.
away and just kept beating on him.
Very true.
I mean, as long as you see, Khabib's either going to be in your guard, in your half guard,
Or on your neck.
Like, on your neck. Yeah, he's not going to be playing some stupid scrambling position where Oliveira's going to end up on his back. Like, I don't think Khabib's ever been submitted in the gym.
Well, I'm pretty sure you've
And-
had people like
Is it
DC
true?
and shit come out and say that. Apparently, I don't think there's any way that there's no way he's been
surely.
submitted in the gym.
At some point...
That's fairy tales. You know what I mean? Surely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people are just so good defensively.
Get the pride of Dagestan.
I've never been submitted in the gym.
Yeah, there you go.
Your wife
see?
submits you every night, mate. What are you
Goat
talking about,
status.
bro?
Never been to a gym, but that doesn't count though. And I also had as a bit of a hipster pick. This is one that I think it'd be an absolute fun scrap. Is Chandler and Chimaev at 170.
Ah! That would actually be sick.
They just walk both of them,
definitely
man. They just walk forward, and I think
What, Chandler,
Go ahead, you're right.
Chandler's like Gilbert's height, is he? During
I
your
think
height?
so. Yeah, I think he's
Maybe
about that height.
a bit shorter. I don't know. Yeah, definitely like that'd be just a war zone. I would love it.
I think it'd be really fun. They both got the wrestling, and they both got just fucking absolute power and a willingness just to not give a fuck about getting hit.
I
What
actually
about TJ and Dominic Cruz
Again.
run it back. Run it back.
I want to see things again.
I think Dom. I love Dom, and I still think he's pretty good for his age, but he's slowing down. He's looking a bit older lately, man. I think TJ rips him.
Yeah. I want to just see TJ fight
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
take him against anyone.
Where's he at the moment? Like, what's going on there? Was he calling for the fight against Aljo?
Yeah, he wants a title shot. And I think Cejudo and Aljo are going to be fighting for that next. So I'm not sure what TJ. I'm not even sure how far off he is with the injury still, to be honest with you.
Didn't he come back and he had one fight since he's
Yeah,
come
he
back,
did, and he
right?
blew
Yeah.
his knee out
And he
Sandhagen.
in that.
and he got done for cheating, and then he comes back, he needs one fight, and then he gets a title shot.
Yeah, but to be fair,
kind of like you got to work your way back
I
up.
do agree, but Corey Sandhagen is probably he's top 3 in that division. You know what I mean? And for him to get a win over that, I mean, what I don't really like T. I'm not a massive fan of TJ, but I can understand him walking back into a title shot after that fight with Sandhagen. Man, that was fantastic. That fight, I think he earned it.
Yeah, he earned it, especially with a blown out knee. But maybe that fight shouldn't have happened. Maybe he should have started a bit lower.
Yeah, that I can agree with. That I can definitely get on board with.
I actually have some sit-ups too, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Let's get into it, lad.
I only have one silly one to say. I had Zabit versus Yair Rodriguez.
Fuck, don't even
How
fucking...
good of a fight would that have been, baby? Come on!
Don't
I just want to
tease
see
me
Zabit
with
fight
Zabit,
everybody,
bro.
you know? He's a good matchup against anybody. Fucking Ninja, what's his name? Abraham Lincoln, that's it.
Violent Abe Lincoln.
Violent Abe Lincoln, man. That's the best. He's just the best. He's just a funky looking dude, too. Like,
I'm not sure. Is he coming back? Do either of you know if he's coming back or not coming back?
I don't think he's coming
Didn't he
back.
go and get a degree?
Yeah.
He's becoming a
doctor or some shit, eh?
Doctor?
Right. Well, I mean, good on him. It's better than getting fucking punched in the head for a living, I guess. But I just feel so robbed of the chance of seeing him in action, man. He's such a fun fighter to watch.
For sure.
He was like probably the only one in the division that would have given Volko grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he'd got his cardio under control 100%, man. That's what he went out for. He went out for surgery to get something to do with his throat, esophagus. Yeah. It affected the way that he breathed. So that's why he always had a massive gas tank issue. I don't know. And then there was talk of his coaches saying he's nearly back, he's coming back, and then apparently now it's off again. I'm just like, stop fucking teasing me with it, man.
Dude, if I saw Zabit like down the road just like smoking crack, I wouldn't even be surprised just because like the way he looks, you know? He just looks like a crackhead, eh?
He just looks like a crackhead. I love it.
100%.
A crackhead that'll fucking murder you, eh? Bro.
Especially when he wears the hood. You know when he puts the hood on?
I don't know if I've seen him with the hood.
He always wears a tracksuit, like a matching tracksuit, and he puts his hood on. You
Always
just
with
see
the
like his little beard sticking out, and his hands in his pocket when he walks. Scoping out your house.
Yeah.
That man is not getting anywhere near my house, eh?
Oh, I had another one as well.
I would like to see Volkanovski go up and fight Oliveira. That's another dream matchup.
That's a good fight.
That's a great fight. See, I was toying with the idea of throwing, and I think we discussed this the last podcast. I'm not sure if this is cheating because we're getting Max versus Volk again, right? But my dream fight is for them to fight at 155 for that lightweight strap. That's such a bigger fight than just having them fight again for a third time for nothing. Like, as much as I'll enjoy watching it, and I'm sure it'll be a fucking great fight, and it'll be good to get closure and all the rest of it, but I think the UFC missed an opportunity there and slow rolling the both of them for the third fight.
Yeah, it is a little bit boring to be honest. Even just seeing Max go up and challenge for the strap or something would be cool. like the rematch at Oliveira.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know, like
yeah,
there's some interesting fights, you know, for, lightweight for Max.
I think,
but yeah,
I think he stands a good chance there if he puts size on. I genuinely do. Any other? What else do you got there for us, Tristan? Any other matchups to run through?
Yeah, man. Then I got Wonderboy and Machida. Two karate specialists, baby. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a kung fu
Pulling
movie.
out the
It's like
big
fucking,
stops, eh?
Yeah, the Red Dragon. I don't know, some shit. Yeah, actually, Machida's nickname is the Dragon. So yeah, there you go.
That's a deadly fight.
How cool would that be to see? Just stylistically, that'd be the coolest shit ever.
Too bad Machida's a little bit washed now. Poor bastard.
Oh yeah,
What? I reckon Bobby Green, Nate Diaz.
Oh, that's a cool one too.
That is a great fight.
A couple of gangsters.
That is a cool. Yeah.
And neither of them will get it because the fucking promotion hates the both of them.
Yeah.
Poor bastards. Shall we move on to the local spotlight for this weekend, lads?
Yep, let's do it.
Now, I'll start us off, but Jarrett, I want you to give us a bit of a rundown on this card because I'm not super acquainted with a lot of the lads on the list. I'm hoping that you are.
To be honest, I'm not either, and especially when I'm usually fighting on a card, I really don't look into who's on it, if that makes sense.
Well, look, I'll kick it off.
When I'm not fighting, I'm all like, oh, who's fighting? And then when I'm on there, I'm like, I really only care about one fight on this card.
Fair enough. We've got Eternal 66 this Sunday in Perth in Western Australia, kicking off at 3 p.m. Australian time. Pretty sure the main card, the prelims aren't on Fight Pass, are they, Jarrett?
No, the prelims, you can pay for that through the Eternal website. They'll do a live stream.
And then the main card will be on Fight Pass that evening. Before we get into the headlining event and all the rest of it, Jarrett's fighting on this card in the co-main. Why don't you give us a bit of a rundown of what's going on here, Jarrett?
Yeah, so lined up to fight in the co-main, which is a huge opportunity since the last fight fell through, so bigger things arise. And this fight's going to be for the number one contender spot to secure a fight for the belt.
Oh, is that confirmed, is it?
Yeah, well, it's confirmed. It's got to be confirmed. How do I say it?
Jarrett's confirmed it then, bro.
Yeah, just there's no one else that fucking deserves it.
They offered it. This fight should have been for the belt. They offered that. Now that what's his name? Etchel's gone off to the UFC and the belt's now vacant. This fight should have been for that belt. So they did offer that opportunity, which I said yes to. And then it came back as, I don't know, they decided to go against it. Maybe they want to put it in more of a main event.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I'm not sure, but I've I've heard that the winner of this is definitely going to be fighting for the belt. So this is a massive fight because I need that belt for sure to get more matchups.
Who's gonna be opposite you though? Should you win this fight this weekend?
It's going to be a rematch. It's going to be.
All right, so we'll stick to this fight this weekend. Who are you fighting this weekend, Jarrett? Give us a bit of a rundown on your opponent.
Oh, sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, so Cody Haddon, he's out of Western Australia, and I consider him to be one of the best, if not the best, bantamweight in Australia. I've really like how he fights. I've watched his last fight with Urseg. Yep. Went 3 rounds. I watched that like 3 times before I even knew I was fighting Cody. So I've been watching Cody for a while. And when they offered me the fight, instantly I was just like, yeah, that's the fight I need. That's the fight I need to prove where I'm at. And so people start taking me a bit more serious. And it's happening. I'm going over there, and he's a big draw card. He brings a lot of people to the fight. So it's going to be
Whereabouts does he train over there?
To be honest, I don't even know. He's
not at Scrappy then?
I think it's like, yeah, he's not at Scrappy. He's at another gym. Where, Fair enough. Seems like there's a few good gyms over there, hey?
Yeah, definitely, man.
His gym and Scrappy, they're basically filling out the whole card.
Man, I think Eternal posted a photo of all the lads, and there might have been a couple of ladies that were from Scrappy that competed on the last card, and it's just like, wow, there's like 7 people there, eh? It's crazy.
Yeah. How's actually I want to say I forget her name, but the girl from Freestyle, she fought Selena Mongi on just the other week up here on the Gold Coast. She's going over there to fight
she's
as well. And I think it's like I think it's like her 4th. It's something crazy. Like it's like a 3rd or 4th fight in like a couple of months.
Damn.
Good on her.
What a fucking legend.
And I have a prediction, and I think that she might be like the next huge thing that comes out of Freestyle Fighting Gym, like like
Do we have a
Volkanovski.
name? I'm gonna have to try and look up her name now.
Oh,
who
man.
did she fight?
I'm
Who did she
so-
fight, Jarrett?
Selena Mongi. Selinemongi.
And that would have been her
Yeah.
last fight.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming up on Pro. Amanda.
Yeah, Tapology, I can't see either.
Oh man, Tapology is an absolute
Man,
I feel really bad now that I don't know this young lady's name.
No, I know her name. It's just that I haven't eaten carbs for however long it's been. My brain's so cooked right now. I'm looking at my phone going, what am I even doing with this thing? I'll go on the Eternal page.
Is it
Yeah, there
Amina?
she is.
Amina.
Hadana.
Yeah, Amina
Hadaya?
Hadaya?
Hadaya.
I'm just gonna trust both of you. Oh, yeah, Amina Hadaya. There it is. It's right there. It's looking me in the face. Fuck me. What is she?
Yeah, and just like when you see a fighter that's that willing to just like fight,
Mm.
and it's like doing what they should be doing at amateur, which is just fighting. Who cares if you lose?
That's
Like,
what it's for.
She just lost a fight, and now she's just gonna back up and go over to Perth and fight again.
That's exactly it, man. And we're starting to see it a lot more now with the amateur scene, especially in Australia, is becoming a lot more prevalent. It'll be really interesting to see how the MMA space looks in about 10 years when pretty much anyone that's coming in has an amateur record, and it'll be super interesting to see.
I absolutely envy all the amateurs out there that can just fight back to back, go up a weight division, just fight where they're comfortable and not worry about winning or losing, and not worried about their opponents trying to pad their records.
And just be getting that ring time in.
I dwell on it a lot, but sometimes I'm like, I'm pretty lucky where I am, but it's like I had a lot of catching up to do now to be where I am. I had to put a lot of work in.
It's a bit different. I mean, when was your first fight, Jarrett? 2014?
Oh,
Later than that.
Maybe like 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but even then, I mean, especially down in, is there much of an amateur scene down in fucking Nowra and Canberra and stuff?
Yeah, like there's Wollongong and Sydney's massive, like Urban Fight Night and that. There's a huge amateur
But
scene.
back then,
It's just when I wanted to fight, that's just how it was offered to me. You want to fight? Here's a fight. It's a professional fight. I didn't even really know about amateur or professional. And then it was like, oh, too late. You can't go back now.
stitched up, mate. Oh, but you're 5-0, brother. I reckon you're doing all right.
It's going well so far.
Yeah, it's working so far. I probably saved myself some brain trauma to get to 5-0.
Very true. Very true, mate. Take that. That's a win. You take that. And then headlining the card after you guys is the 10-2 lightweight champion Jack Becker versus taking on Aiden Aguilera, who's 8-5. I'm not really up to date on Aiden, but Jack Becker is definitely someone you should be keeping an eye on out of Australia. I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing him overseas at some point soon.
Do we have his record? That
Yeah,
Aguilera?
8-5 he is.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe like Becker might need another one after this to prove he's ready to go to the UFC.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at lightweight. Lightweight's pretty filled up at the UFC. I don't think they're really begging for people.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention on that card, Jarrett or Tristan? Either of you lads got anyone else you keeping an eye out on there?
No, man, it's like I should have looked at it more. I'm just so.
I look, to be fair,
bro.
I did have a look. But I obviously I think a lot of them are Western Australian, and that's fucking 6 hours on a plane from Brisbane. So I'm not real up to date on the. It is, man.
country,
It's
man.
closer to fly to fucking New Zealand than it is to go to Perth. So, yeah.
They're like the commission there for me to fight there. They're making me get blood tests that like you wouldn't even get if you've been hanging out with Zabit, rooting in the crack den.
Is that something that the promotion comps for you, or do you have to go out and pay for all that yourself?
Well, I just got mine through like Medicare.
Oh,
like, I didn't
okay.
have to
So you
pay
don't have to
for
pay
any
for
of
blood
it.
work and stuff. I thought you had to pay for it if you wanted to go and get blood work done.
You know what? I think you do. Depends who your doctor is. If you got a cool doctor, you probably just write it off
Don't
like
do
it's
it.
no worries. But
Can he get any oxys?
man, it's just like, yeah, hit him up.
Yeah,
He'll give you
Chris.
anything you
Yeah,
ask
bro.
for, man.
Yeah, how cool is your doctor, man?
Yeah. He seems really fucking cool. Give me his number. Yeah, no, fair enough. And then we'll move on to fan submissions. I've got one for the night, lads, and I'll start off with that one because I actually think we can have a pretty good conversation about this. Luke Trahair. Trahair? I'm not sure. But he's the he does writing for Eternal. He just did a awesome article about Jarrett up on the Eternal website if you want to go check that out.
Yeah.
But
Check it out.
Thank you, Luke.
he chimed in and said, "What do you guys think about the idea of open scoring in MMA? This has been a bit of a hot topic the last couple of weeks, especially since the Holm Vieira fight on the weekend." I like the idea. I genuinely like the idea, and I think it would be good for both fighters to know where they stand at the beginning of round 3 in a regular fight and after the end of round 3 in a title fight. But I don't think that's the problem with judging and with scoring. I don't think open scoring solves any of that. I think it's more of I don't know, people just need to sit down and knuckle out what actually fucking matters when it comes to scoring who wins a fist fight.
Dude, they need to set like precedents and shit. You know, like juries and fucking judges and stuff. They have like these precedents they set and they apply that to like all different trials in the future. Like, why don't they have certain standards of fights where like maybe like a lower output fight or whatever it is, and they score it a certain way and they could apply that to future fights and maybe similar? I mean, I don't know.
No, I get exactly.
I'm just talking shit.
No, but I get exactly what you're saying. Like, I do understand that, but like, fuck, I don't know. There's some. By that, there's some legal precedents that have been set in the world that probably shouldn't have been set. You know what I mean? So, and if you want to set precedents, like, for example, setting a precedent that Ketlin Vieira won that fight against Holly Holm. I don't personally, and again, fuck, maybe I'm just opening myself up to heaps of criticism here, but I definitely don't think that Ketlin Vieira won that fight, and I definitely don't think that a precedent should be set in regards to scoring on a fight like that. Man,
Yeah, but at least to be fucking consistent,
consistency, 100%, man. You know what you're working towards as a fighter in each fight. You know, I get that. I just think a whole heap of retired fighters, referees, and officiators just need to come together and just scrap the scoring criteria that's there and make something that works for this sport. Because there's got to be a better way.
Did you think that, like, if they do have open scoring, it's actually going to make the sport a lot more boring, especially when it comes to that third round? Like, if you're up 2 rounds, you're just going to get on your bike and just run away.
If you were down 2 rounds, you're not going to let him sit on their bike for that entire time. You know, you're going to be giving your absolute all. I think it works in both ways.
Depends who's got the better footwork, really.
It does. But,
Yeah,
I mean, like, I don't know,
yeah.
why can't we... the Kansas Commission does it, and I think LFA have had open scoring on a couple of their cards. I haven't watched any. I probably should. But, yeah, I think it makes... I think it'll have a better chance at making fights more interesting rather than boring, but that's just me, and I don't have any evidence to back that up, so I don't know. You know what I mean?
Can't we just get more judges?
Fuck, not even more, bro. Just better. I mean, and I've said this before as well, but I don't know how the fuck Derek Cleary still has a job, bro. He's the I was gonna say, what's the opposite of the gold standard? Like, he's the opposite of the gold standard for judging, man. He's just what you should aspire not to be.
Standard.
Yeah, the shit.
He's definitely Zabit smoking crack down the road.
Yeah. Him and his
That's what
homie
he is.
Sabit, bro.
Yeah.
Him and his homie Sabit at the trap house, just getting on it every week.
Man, I feel bad like we're just bagging down Zabit like this. Like, I actually love Zabit. He's a great dude,
he's
great
sweet, bro.
fighter. We're gonna like just preference.
I reckon he'd laugh at it though. I just
Dude, he didn't kill you.
Out of
Like,
every
start-
fighter on the roster, he's the furthest away. Like, he's a doctor, right?
Yeah, and like, yeah, right, and from Dagestan, like, I don't think they have crack there, dude.
You can probably get some legal crack. Maybe you can get some legal crack. Who knows?
Dude, I don't know. Anyway,
I was thinking about this earlier. If I ever offend anyone on this podcast, like any local fighters or anything, Jarrett, I expect you to back me up, Because I can't fight,
dude, protect.
Oh, I'll be there, bro. Maybe that's how I can
That's
get
it. You and
matchups.
Zabit. This is it. We're doing it right now.
Used to be. Hey, I'm at the end of camp. I doubt he's been training. I only got to last 30 seconds and he'll be gassed. I'll get him on a Sunday and he's on the back end of his
end of a
bender.
Larry Ender. Oh,
mid surgery.
poor cunt. Yeah, either of you boys, I can't remember. We talked about it earlier. Did either of you get fan submissions? I think Jarrett, you got one again. That's right. What's your favorite? The most effective martial art that you've trained in for the third time?
Dude, obviously he loves Aikido. Man, everybody knows that. It's Jarrett's favorite martial arts, man.
And suddenly it's changed during this camp. I have a Tai Chi coach that I've been down the park with.
Playing
Same
touch
oldies
button
down
park.
I don't plan on even landing a strike in this fight. I'm just gonna knock him out cold with my Chi Force energy.
And there you have it, folks. Put the house on Jarrett by Chi.
By Chi, baby.
That's all the topics that we have listed for tonight, lads. Anything else either of you want to get off your chest before we hit the sack tonight?
Man, I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat, bro. That's all I
Have
gotta
you not
say.
had dinner?
Don't you complain about
Yeah,
food.
no, sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. My bad, homie. Dude,
All I'm thinking of is the chicken
The skinwich, brother.
sandwich.
Oh,
I've-
no.
This might be a little bit rude of me to say, but I've got some waffles and ice cream waiting for me to go once we finish up here, so I'm getting stuck
hell?
into them,
Dude, who eats waffles?
I made my wife go out and buy me some pre-made waffles, like in a big pack the other day. Bro, I was hanging out so bad for chicken and waffles that I ended up just getting waffles and ice cream and no chicken. I was like, that'll do. So yeah, once again for this weekend, Eternal 66 in Perth, Western Australia. 29th of May, 3 p.m. Australian time. You can catch it on UFC Fight Pass. The homie Jarrett is fighting in the co-main event, and then Jack Becker versus Aiden Aguilera in the main event. And that's it from us for the evening. I'm going to go eat my waffles and ice cream. I'm not sure how that's going to go down with the beer, but we're going to fucking find out. Again, if you're listening to us on YouTube, subscribe, comment, thumbs up. That's always super helpful. On Spotify, just follow us so you can keep up to date with every episode that we put out. Hit us up on the social media, Punch Drunk _MMA for myself on Instagram, cferg_MMA on Twitter. The homie Jarrett is Jarrett J Will Chillerman on Instagram, and Tristan is Elkmeat MMA on Instagram. You know what? Something I wanted to plug your podcast here, Jarrett. Me and Tristan were talking about this. We did want to have a chat about your podcast. Might have left it a little bit late, but if anyone's keen to listen to any of Jarrett's new podcasts, the Life's Like podcast, we've got a bit of time. You jump in here and tell us what it's all about.
Mate, it's just anything about life. Like my idea around it is, why do we always wait until, like, say someone's famous, right? Or they're like some sort of public figure, and then we want to come out and talk to that person and learn all about their life, right? But there's other people out there in the world that have amazing stories and are full of wisdom, pretty wise, got a lot to say. And nobody's ever going to get their story on anything that they've done in life. So I just want to go out and find people that I find really interesting, and then I just want to bring them in on all different topics and just sit down with them and just learn from them and have conversations. So that's really what it's around. So it's from anything, really. Like, I got this one of, oh man, I haven't put this one up yet because it was It's pretty out there, but it was this flat Earth
Oh
dude.
yes, wonderful.
Oh yes, yes, dog.
Oh.
Dude, where do you find these people, by the way?
This guy, I got someone recommended me to just message this guy, so I booked in with him. He jumped on my podcast, and I just said to him from the start, "Look, I'm not here to argue with you if the Earth's flat or round. Like, I'm not saying it's either. Like, I just want to hear your opinion on it, and I just want to know why it's flat or round. Like, anyways, he had this big screen behind him, and he just like nailed me for like 40 minutes. He started like drawing me into this argument. Next minute, I'm like telling him that the Earth's round, and now I'm caught up in this argument with this flat Earth dude.
Do you think he just likes arguing with people? Like that's maybe why.
He does. He was so serious. I thought it was going to be a light-hearted conversation. He just didn't let me get a word in. Just yeah, it was just it's very entertaining. And then right at the end, it cut out, but thank God it did. But I asked him like, all right. The most serious question I have for you is the Queen a lizard? And he's just like, blank face.
Oh, fuck.
He's like, I'm like, is the Queen a lizard? He's like, I have no evidence for that.
Oh, okay.
Like, right.
At least he's basing his opinions in evidence, whether it's scientific or not, you know?
Yeah. Unlike you round earther.
I wonder if I was sitting there wondering if it's one of my mates that entire time you were just describing him, because I've got a mate that's a flat earther, but I swear he's just a flat earther to argue with people, because he loves arguing with people and proving people wrong, man. I swear that's half the people that are flat earthers.
Is his name Dave? Because it's Dave the flat Earth guy.
No, it's not.
Oh, no,
It's not.
Nice. I'm so excited to listen to it.
So I've listened to the first one that you put out about the psychedelics, and I actually really enjoyed that. I'm a fan of psychedelics myself, obviously, but I don't know, and that's that's why I enjoyed the podcast, was because I don't know, it's just a regular dude. It's just a homie that's having a conversation about things that have helped him with his life. You know what I mean? It doesn't exactly. It doesn't need to be someone famous or fucking. It doesn't need to be any of that shit. Just regular people telling real stories. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fucking fantastic, man.
And then there was the UFO guy, and like I legitimately believe that he had seen UFOs. Whether it was inside of his own mind, like whether he was like manic or something, is another thing. But I could tell that he genuinely believed that he had seen UFOs.
I have an experience exactly like that, Jarrett, with one of my ex-co-workers I used to work with. And like one day at lunch, like I always knew he was interested in aliens and stuff like that. He was actually, this is when I was living in Japan, he was the MUFON director of Japan. Do you know MUFON, Jarrett?
No.
It's like some organization that's been around since the 70s that like investigates alien sightings and shit. So he'd go around in Japan and like interview people that have seen.
This guy sent his report into MUFON. So
exactly. Exactly. And he's just kind of detailing me these stories about him being abducted in the middle of the night and all this shit. And this is awesome. This is like in my lunch break, just chatting. There's all these other lunch like coworkers around, and he's just having this mad story with me. Everyone's looking at us like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, egging him on. Just like,
yeah, tell me more. Go on. Make
about
yourself look like more of an idiot.
So. No, but I was genuinely curious. I was like, so what do these aliens look like, bro? Like, tell me, man. Like, and he said all this stuff to me. It was actually super interesting. One of the craziest things he said was that him and his son actually got abducted at the same time, and his son, who's like 5 years old, has like memories of it as well. When they came back to Earth, I was like, holy shit. Anyway, save it for another podcast, eh?
See, I'd then, I don't know. Is he trying to fucking brainwash his son into thinking his son's been abducted by aliens just to cover for his bullshit story? Like,
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. I love it. Anyway, check out Jarrett. We digress. Something fierce. Check out Jarrett's podcast, the Life's Like podcast, on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much any podcast platform. Yeah.
I got to get it up on all the others. I think it's up on a couple. Maybe. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Jarrett, go get some sleep, brother. I'm gonna get some waffles.
So fried. Yeah, and, yeah, thanks, boys, and sorry to the listeners out there. I'm not in the best state of mind right now, just because I can't think due to lack of carbs. So
But you're handsome,
next
and
week
your
will
hair
be
looks good,
different.
mate, and that's what matters. That's why we've got you here.
Thanks, mate.
You're
That's
the
all that
beauty.
matters.
You and Tristan are the beauty of the beauty and the brains. I'm just here as the fucking. I put the technical side together.
What are you, the thorn between the roses?
Why you gotta do them like that, Jarrett?
All right, catch us next week. We should be weekly from here on out. I had COVID last week and I was just sook and didn't want to record. But yeah, here on out, catch us weekly, same place, similar time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Peace.